Hi, my name's Mrs. B, and I have a little gallery and studio in downtown Gloversville, New York. And my lessons got canceled today because of a snowstorm that hit the entire Northeast. So I'm here in my dining room. I'm going to show you an assignment that I just call Dancing Kites. And basically it's a printmaking assignment, and we're going to use just the supplies that you see here. What I had a helper, sort of hot glue little diamonds made out of just craft foam, sheets of craft foam, and cut into various diamond shapes, and hot glued them to a Q-tip so that the students wouldn't have to get quite as yucky as they might. Another tool we're going to use is a sponge. Otherwise I'm using tempera paint and acrylic paint because I don't have the white tempera with me. At any rate, the only other tools are Q-tips, which we're going to use as paint brushes, and for smaller marks we're going to use a toothpick. So without further ado, what I start out with is showing children, or I actually did this with handicapped adults. I show them the basic shape of a kite, which is a diamond, and then I show them that when the wind blows that diamond, you don't always see it frontally, sometimes you see it from an angle, and when it starts to disappear you call that foreshortening. When the wind blows and fills it like a sail, you might actually get an odd shaped shape like this. So what I've done is I've pre-cut some of these diamonds, and some of them are in kind of those weird shapes that are a little bit curved, and when you put them all together in an assembly of the student's choice, you get a merry little dancing kite ensemble. So here we go. The first thing that I have them do is just put a little paint out on, you can use either a meat tray or a paper plate, and we're just going to goo that around a little bit, just using plastic spoons. Just kind of make a, a field of the color, and then you can take any size kite you want to, and we're just going to kind of slather that on. If it doesn't quite go on real well, you can use your God-given tool, your finger, and kind of cover that bad boy. Stick it on there, and you always need paper towels. So I tell the students that when the wind blows, it pushes us back like this, so the kites should be on an angle, so that when they draw their strings, the strings will all be on a slant. So I tell them to lay it down and then kind of tap it. You don't want to wiggle it or you'll smear the print. So you're just going to tap, 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 and then lift it up, and you'll have, your first kite. Okay, we're not going to show you every kite that I make just to save you a little time in video, but I'll put a couple on, and then we'll let these dry, and we'll come back and we'll see the second phase, which is putting on the kite strings. So now maybe I want to take a smaller kite. I won't bother doing it around too much. I can just kind of blot it. So I've got it like that, and I can put it anywhere. I can overlap it. So I put it down, give it a little tap, and now I've got two kites. So as the kites kind of congregate on the page, you get the sense of distance. So the larger kite shapes are going to be those that are closer to the viewer, and the smaller ones are going to be those that are far away. So when you go in to put your kite strings, you may want to change the weight of your line. Okay, we're going to take a little break for now and come back. Okay, one thing that Mrs. B forgot to show you, because I was so excited to make my first video, was that you should put probably some sponge clouds on first. Otherwise, while this is still wet, it's too easy to mess it up and drag colors where you don't want them. But I haven't put too many kites down, so all I did was dab the sponge into some paint. Now I'm going to blot a lot of it off so that I get the holes in the porosity of the sponge. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of thump it on there in an irregular sort of cloudy shape. Try to not get into my kites too much. And you can, the beauty of this is that every kid can kind of have his own concept of clouds and make them heavy or light, but you want to make sure you see some blue through. You don't want to go cloud crazy. So that's probably good enough. Just gives the idea of some nice fluffy, happy clouds and the clear spring light. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, we're back, and you can use a hairdryer if you need to help these dry. If you're a teacher in a school and you'd like to use this assignment, you could probably put them on the heater, whatever and we'll go. Okay, next part's real easy. Simply using a black colored pencil. You could use a Sharpie or multiple Sharpies. Like I said, you could make the strings of the kites that are closer a little bit thicker, and then use an ultra fine point for the farther. But I'm just going to go on an angle. I call them sliding board lines, and I'm just going to go zoom, make them all kind of go off. If they cross over, that's fine, because that happens in life. It's fine, but basically you kind of want them to go all roughly parallel at the same angle. So you've got a bunch of kites flying around. Next step, you make an S. Kids especially can relate to forms that they're familiar with, so most of them know about the letter S. So you just make some S's for the tail. Very simple. You can make them a little squigglier if you want to. And you just kind of make S's for a while. Okay, I try to make the kites that are closer have a little bit larger of an S, and then the ones that are farther away a little bit smaller. Okay, last step. You're going to take this, and you can either do 2 dots on each side to make it look like ties that are on this kite string, which I tried to do in the sample over here. But we ran out of time with the group I did them with yesterday, so I just told them to take a color which is not the color of your kite and just make dots along that S. It gives pretty much the same effect. It's simpler, easier to explain, and there you have it. So all I'm doing is quickly dotting this kite at intervals, and it gives kind of this happy, free-flowing kite scene. So I'd like to mix the colors up a little bit, and I also provided a quick lesson in warm colors. So these are all warm colors. I tell kids it's the colors of fire or colors of the sun, and then you can just kind of keep going with that. This pink guy will get some yellow strings on his kite tail, and there you have it. It's pretty much done. I've got a few more to do, but I can keep going, or we'll just show you now and let you get back to what you're doing. Very simple. With handicapped adults yesterday, it took about 1 hour and 10 minutes, but that was with pouring paint and putting paper out, things like that. So I imagine you could get it into about a 40-minute class, including the drying time. Okay, thanks. Have a great day.